Welcome into Rounding the Bases Live, presented by Enterprise Bank and Trust. Happy Friday, everyone. My name is Joel Goldberg, and I've got an action-packed day. It's been a busy week. They're all busy weeks right now when you're grinding and creating and doing all that from home. A piece of advice to anyone: if you're doing the whole work at home thing, which many of us have been adapting to for months. You gotta schedule time like you would have to drive from one place to the next. I don't do that. I just jumped off of a 3-hour seminar. We're on to this podcast. I'm on to my Big Fly Baseball podcast after that, then a peer group this afternoon, and then exhale and enjoy the weekend. The point of all of that is to say there's always a lot going on, and getting closer to baseball returning. Hopefully, all of the other sports. We're also still dealing with a pandemic. We're dealing with still protests and the major issue of racial injustice. There's so much going on in the world right now. I had a call from Enterprise Bank the other day, and they said, Joel, we're proud to be a partner with you. Continue the discussions about race. Continue making an impact in the community. We want to be partners. So I'm grateful to their sponsorship. Casey Cattle Company, veteran owned and operated up in Weston, Missouri. Wagyu beef. Get those orders in now for the 4th of July. Here's their website. They deliver to all 50 states. Updates on social media. And if you need a little something to chase it down, if you're in Overland Park, Johnson County area, JJ's Wine and Spirit, southwest corner of College and Antioch. Wednesdays is 15% off all bottles of wines. Very grateful for my partnership with all of my sponsors, and excited right now to bring in a panel of two guests. Up top, you'll see Bill Brandmeyer. On the bottom, the Hall of Famer himself, who every now and then will get to interview at Kauffman Stadium, where somehow football and baseball end up merging. But today we're really talking about our community and what's going on there. I should start with the Hall of Famer, but this is Bill's project. So, Bill, tell us a little bit about the foundation and about what is going on, because I know that you have a big week next week, and it's really all about the kids.
It is. It really is. And I'm super excited to be a part of Rounding the Bases. I've been watching what you've been doing for 70 shows. It's just incredible, Joel. And obviously baseball has light at the end of the tunnel, which is fantastic. But we're still gradually getting ourselves ready back to get onto the field safely. And youth sports are coming online, but really, really staggered and a lot of confusion. And with spiking, we don't know what is going to happen in the next few weeks, months. But there is concern, and I've had concern for about 6 weeks now, 7 weeks now. What is happening with our kids? What is happening to keep them engaged, active, and ready to be part of something? They're missing out on so many different aspects of life, and we are going to spend a whole week talking about that. We're going to talk about the safe return to sports at all levels, but really focus on what's happening on the streets of Kansas City with the kids, having in-depth interviews with stakeholders that want to talk about, really give as much information about what's happening on our streets with our kids, whether it be with youth sports or just in general, the child care support network that has been so important in families' lives to get people through summer. They're all broken. They're all working at really low capacity or half capacity. They're underfunded. We're going to talk to those organizations next week, and I'm just excited to be able to partner with someone like Will Shields, who has dedicated his life to Kansas City, has given everything he has to this community, has been an entrepreneur, and also has founded a foundation called Will to Succeed that has put millions of dollars towards helping kids. And so the Shareways gets elevated because we get to partner with someone as awesome as Will Shields, and that's what this is all about: is working together. We're stronger together. We're better together, and we're going to bring attention to a real critical issue.
Yeah, Bill, all great points, and Will, good to see you again. I think I always say to you that it's a good thing back in your playing days that Nebraska and Wisconsin weren't in the same conference, because it means that we could still get along and all that. I'm joking. I think I've thought about on Husker night putting on a Nebraska hat for you before and all that, and of course Alex Gordon's made me do that anyway. But
well, we had to twist your arm to get you to do those kind of things, but that's okay. I don't mind twisting the arm of a Wisconsin Badger. It's okay.
I'd rather it be a Nebraska red than anything that says Michigan on it or something like that. But listen, I always love seeing you. I always love talking to you, and it's not. And I think this is such a cool thing. I mean, it's not because of the Hall of Fame career you had it's because of everything else you do. And I know that Hall of Fame career has given you a platform to leave a legacy and do so many things. Um, and I'm just curious your take on all this, because you were that kid growing up that had sports 7 days a week. You saw it with, as a parent too. And you look out there now, we're just starting to see kids get back onto the fields in different ways. I mean, my son is going for morning football conditioning. That's canceled if it starts to rain because they're not allowed in the building. They're not allowed to lift. They have to have temperature checks before they go in. How much you've thought about just the way this whole pandemic, not only has it affected our lives, but even more so the way it's affected kids and athletes and activities?
That's the part of the big issue of trying to figure out what's next. How do you do the things that you need to do? How do you prepare for the next level of what's going to happen? And that's one thing. You have to do it. You have to take it day by day, month by month, see what they're going to allow, what they know about what's going on, and when will be the safest way and the best way to bring all the kids back to the sports and to the games and everything else. And, just like anything else, you could look at all the different areas. They are playing games now with no fans and pros. And then, we don't want to do that when it comes down to kids. Mom and dad wants to be there. They want to be a part of it. But we want to be able to get that back going. But also on the other hand, we want to be safe, because there are so many young kids that are susceptible to those things. And that makes a big difference.
Big time.
Yeah, and look, it's hard to explain all of this to the kids too. I mean, let's be honest here. I mean, they're kids. They just want to go and do kids things. They don't want to worry about this kind of stuff, right? And that's what they're dealing with right now. Bill, what's the response been to everything that you're doing? I mean, early on, I saw suddenly there's Bill Self posting a message, and you scrape the bottom of the barrel with me doing a message, but we know that the sports community, Bill, you've been here forever. Will, you've been here forever. I guess I'm the relative newcomer, only having been here 12 years. But what have you seen from the sports community?
Well, Sharewaves is working to advance opportunities for kids to play sports. We are part of the charity arm of Union Broadcasting, Sports Radio 810 WHB. They are an organization that is dedicated 21 years to serving our community and trying to bring the most, compelling conversations to the radio. Very successful, done a great job, always out there helping to try to promote causes. This isn't something that we're doing to create Sharewaves to try to make something that's not already happening. You do it with your radio show and your position. Other sports talk radio people are always trying to promote different causes. What we're finding is that you can best laid plans of everything kind of got blown up by COVID. And we were concerned early on that the kids that were missing out on recess, missing out on their sports teams, missing their coaches, their teammates. We wanted to try to do something that would fill that gap a little bit. And we started creating little videos called Ready to Play videos. We had coaches throughout the city that stepped up, different sports, volleyball, soccer, football, and they did 90-second little vignettes, little workouts, solo workouts for kids, and they're still available. We've created 70 of them. More's coming out next week. We're going to do a virtual boot camp every day next week to provide, some more activities for kids at home. But as we started gradually getting back to understanding that we're going to try to get kids back out on the field. We're going to have a baseball tournament. We're going to have, socially distanced soccer. We're going to try to keep masks on people in the stands. I started getting really concerned that the guidance that the experts are providing, the people that are in charge of managing our kids, are not taking things as seriously as they should. And I just hope that this week that we get to, kind of dive into this, we're able to present some really compelling conversations and in-depth conversations with the experts to make sure we reinforce this message that if you're sitting in stands watching kids play, you should be wearing a mask and you should watch your distance with the other people in the stands. This is not a time to try to get together and show the world that we can beat COVID without, doing what we're told that we have to do in order to protect ourselves. This is a time to really involve yourself with what is right for the community, what is right for the whole. And the whole is being fractured by this virus. And youth sports have been fractured by this virus, as every small business and everyone has been challenged. And there is amazing people out there continuing to push this message. We have got to stick together. We've got to do this together. And next week, we're going to be asking Kansas City to step up to help kids. We think that this is a really great reaction to what's happening, and just a great opportunity for us to do something unique and special, and really excited about the chance to do it.
Yeah,
did I answer your question? I don't even know if I answered your question.
You did, and it's a great opportunity, first and foremost, to bring people together. I mean, we all know, all three of us, and so many that are watching, that sports brings people together. That's true in all sports. That's true at all levels of sports. So we need that connectivity for sure. Will, I think about this. I mean, you're well removed from your playing days, but I mean, 60, 70, 80,000 people uniting just in person to come watch, and millions more around the country. And look, we're hopefully getting through this right now from a baseball standpoint. I'm hoping to get back to work next month, and if we can stay safe enough, I suppose that will happen. How much have you thought? I mean, you don't need to deal with it. Like the Chiefs are ready to defend the Super Bowl here right now. There's no guarantees they're going to play. I think and hope that they will. I don't know that they're going to play in front of 70,000, 80,000 fans this year. I've loved this question from a sports standpoint. Athletes are the most routine-oriented guys that I know. Kids need that routine too. How much of a challenge do you think this has been for, whether it's OTAs in football, whether it's spring training, or now we're getting ready for what they're calling summer training to begin next week, but they can't do it all at once, and it's not in Arizona. It's going to be waves of, 15 guys here, 15 guys there. How much does that disruption affect athletes and kids for that matter?
It's going to be huge. I mean, you think about it, we were used to, I hit the J months. I call the J months the quickening months of okay, I'm 2 months away from really getting to do what I enjoy doing on a day-to-day basis. But you still have that 15-week buildup before that of all season, of conditioning, workouts, everything else. Being able to get together with the guys and, get prepped for the season and know, to get to know each guy's been working out. That's one thing that's very important. It's like, okay, this guy's next to me. He's been doing this. He's been doing that. Oh, by the way, we got together once or twice and we did some running. We did some different things. And that's the hard part of being, not knowing where everyone is and not knowing what you can and can't do. It makes it difficult. But, not having the fans in the stands and the people that you play for, your family and friends and everything else, makes a big difference too, because that's sort of why you do what you do. You love to perform for others, to see what you can do on a day-to-day basis. And I think that's what makes it make it a little more hard, a little difficult. But I think as we work our way through it and be more understanding, I think that'll be more helpful of being understanding of what everything else. It's not necessarily that individual's safety. It's the individual that has the respiratory issue, that it is the person that has the other things that go along, that you are doing that to protect them. And I think that's where we have to understand as a society that we have to do what it is, not just to protect yourself. You might be able to run through a brick wall or do all this other stuff. It's about the person next to you that might not be. And I think that's the hard part. And I know we're going to miss the sport and be able to do, try to watch TV and be a part of it. But right now they're still trying to figure out, okay, will we have full stands, half stands? Will we, and that all comes back to how we handle it now to be able to do those things as we move forward. And I think that's going to make a big difference. And it's going to be difficult, especially during that off season time, because we are regimented. We are, hey, I get up this day on Monday, I do this. Tuesday, I do that. I run this. I run that. Now you have to do it off a book. And I tell you, it's the worst feeling ever of coming into camp and going, have I done enough? Am I in shape enough? Or not knowing if there's going to be the same kind of camp you had last year or the year before.
And we love sports, right? And sports teaches so much to kids. It gives kids so much different ways of looking at life, looking at how to win, how to lose, how to fight for a goal. Social skills, the studies are really clear that kids who play sports, they excel in a lot of areas of life that you can measure. the thing that COVID is teaching us is that as athletes, we have to take it upon ourselves, personal responsibility. We may be better off in a group to train, and that we may get motivated by that group, but we don't get to do that all the time right now. We have to get up every day, and I love the idea of marking the J months. That's your time to get yourself ready for the season. That's what Ready to Play really is kind of trying to drill down into, is that each athlete, even though we know we like to be in a collaborative group and work together to train and get better, we got to do it ourselves. We got to wake up and get ourselves out there. We got to spend, one of the big concerns that the care providers is that these kids aren't getting 68 minutes of activity every day. And that's vital. And it's, it's one of those national things that people just assume, that, that's what happens at school. They get that 60 seconds. And in the summer, they get their summer camps, and they're going to get their technical training and improve their skill sets. And so the impact of this is going to play out over the course of the next 2-3 years. I think, obviously people are going to be able to look back at this time and they can use it as an excuse. Oh, well, that didn't happen. My life didn't happen because of COVID. Or they can look at it as, I took on the challenge, I beat COVID, I got ready to play, and I'm ready to go. And so that's what we're going to talk about. That's what we're trying to get out there, is that this is a moment in time that each athlete can look into themselves and try to do something that's going to beat this thing and make sure that they're ready to play.
Well, we call it the it factor. You sort of we call it the it factor. You sort of have it or you don't have it at specific times. This is a time for our young people to understand you have to motivate it yourself. You're giving people a great place to go with the Shareways Foundation to go and find things that you can do every day to get yourself better. So you're giving them the tools, but the question is, are we willing to use it? Are we willing to do those things that we can do on our own to get better? And that's the great thing about it. And that's what we're always trying to produce. Can you go out and do those things on your own and get things done?
Yeah.
No, totally agree with that. And what I wanted to ask both of you, we've got a few minutes left, is and then we'll promote wherever everybody can find everything next week. I just did a quick look, and this is show 68, which is a complete coincidence that show number 68
How about that?
has
love
number
it.
68 on it. I knew I was getting close to 70. I bring this up though, one, because that was a big complete coincidence and kind of cool. But I when baseball was postponed in March, and they said a couple weeks, and I knew it wasn't going to be a couple weeks. I did not think though that we would be getting back to work in late July. I just didn't think my weekly podcast was enough, so I switched to this, and now 5 days a week, conversations about everything. And I did not expect to be having conversations. I wanted to have conversations about the pandemic and pivots and what businesses were doing. I didn't understand then that as the George Floyd murder happened and the protests were going on, that there was a topic that I had the ability to talk about every day that I've never had that platform before, and never had the courage to either. And so I ask you that with the poster that's over your left shoulder, Will, that through these tough times, there is opportunity. I fully believe kids can't get out and play the same. Okay, Bill's got this foundation going and will help create opportunity. The racial injustice discussion, which has been going on since before you played, since before you were born, and at times, I had a guest last week that said his daughter was watching Sesame Street with him, a black entrepreneur here in town, and she said, "Dad, I thought this was all taken care of by Martin Luther King, and look at how much further we are." So I'm wondering, just your thoughts overall, Will, on what's going on and the opportunity we have in sports and community and beyond with everything in life right now.
Well, I think one thing of it is that being in the places that you can actually make a difference, make a change through understanding, education. All of these different things are part of the process. And I think what makes it hard is that the simple fact of it is that you got to have acceptance of what has happened and what is going on, and the acceptance of understanding and being able to try to push forward to make things better from this forward. You can't control everything that's happened beforehand, but you can control that day to day, month to month, year to year. And I think that's something that we have to look at across the country as a whole, is being able to go, okay, we know what we are going up against. We know where we're at, but we know that there is something that we can do. And that is to make things equal, fair, and just across the board. And so that to me is that caveat of trying to find out, how do we build those programs? How do we build those bridges? How do we not sort of put our head in the sand and don't admit of the things that has happened, the acceptance of it, but then understanding that we are different, we are growing, and we are getting better. And once we start getting to that point, then we'll get to a better point. But until we accept the things that have happened in the past and then start moving forward to make everything, you're not going to make up for what's already been done, but we can help those that are there to make the future better. So that's sort of the way I sort of think of it.
A couple final thoughts. We've had a bunch of people jump in. Maria Stone Street says simply yes. And Kiana Siggs, who is recently a guest of mine, puts an exclamation point on the discussion. And my buddy Chris Ketz, all masked up from KMBC, the great anchor at Channel 9 here in town, gives his seal of approval too. If Ketzer is saying it, then I'm on board with it. So final thoughts from each of you. First and foremost, Will, I'm not going to ask you whether we're going to have a football season. I hope we do. We got to have those Chiefs to defend it. And more importantly, the entertainment. We're seeing it in baseball. I think everybody is, as fun as it is to watch, Mahomes stalking the sidelines in the Super Bowl and, and Salvador Perez hitting the game-winning hit in the wild card and on and on. We want real stuff. We want real sports. How much, I've asked this question to a lot of guests in terms of the racial injustice discussion, certainly to a lot of guests that have been black. How much hope is there right now for what is going on in this country and society? Do you have hope for the country, for our community of Kansas City? Is there reason for hope?
Of course, there's always a reason for hope. Hope is something that you can put forward every day in everything that you do. There's always hope, but the question is, when that door opens, do you take the opportunity to make a difference, to make a change, to do those things? And there's always that fight forward of, pushing things through and doing different things. I mean, one part of the Will to Succeed Foundation is working across the board with a lot of different things in a lot of different areas to make sure that life is good for all across the board. And that's the whole caveat for what you do is you see a problem, you attack it, you find a way to fix it, you find a way to give a solution. So, instead of going, well, this is a problem, that's a problem, this is the other thing, you actually try to work and find out, how can I help? How can I be a part of it? How can I help it grow in the positive way across the board? And I think that's something that, us as individuals and as part of being part of any community that we're onus for. We're onus for being, a part of a community that's bigger than, what's just in my household and what's happening around in my house and that kind of thing, because that's what this whole country should be based on, is helping everyone get better every day and then growing from there.
Yeah, I have Bill. Go ahead, Bill, and real quick, so I gotta wrap here in a second, but I'll let you jump on that thought, and then also just give everybody some information about what's going on next week.
I will. I had the joy of joining Father Justin Matthews earlier this week and talking about reconciliation, and he took me down a path that I don't know how comfortable I was with it. We certainly at Chairways have given a lot of thought to the inequities that exist in youth sports, and that the haves pretty much have access to all of the different sports that they want to play, and the have-nots get left out and are really left to play soccer and basketball, which are great sports, but there are country club sports that just cannot be accessed by low-income families in different parts of our city. And that's something that needs to be rectified. We need to find a way to help bring kids into sports, in different ways. It's something that I think we can really touch on as far as, as Will was saying, find something that's broken and try to fix it, right? The other thing that I live my life by is that I've been blessed, and that my response to that is that I got to go back and do something to make a difference in this world, because that's what I've been taught, and so I live by that. I think that this whole idea that this world, this culture, this society has been living at an enormous deficit for so long, and things like George Floyd add to the deficit. They continue to push us down the hole. We need to get out of the hole. We need to start treating one another with love and respect and courtesy and opportunity. And, the one thing that has struck me throughout the last 4 weeks of this whole thing is that privilege is something that we cannot control, whether we have it or don't have it. But access, that is a privilege that everyone should at least be open, have the ability to be a part of. Access is privilege, and that's something that shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way. And so we're going to fight that a little bit as we go down this path. That's not what Ready to Play Week is about. Ready to Play Week is about us taking every single day next week. We're going to broadcast live from 1 to 3 on 94.5 ESPN and 1510 AM. It's the sister stations to 810 WHB. They're going to help promote me all week, but I'm going to be on the little sister station. We're going to broadcast live, where we will have the ability to access all of the content through our social media channels. We're going to be, you can go to our sharewaysfoundation.org and learn all about what we're trying to do with Ready to Play Week. The science on Monday, youth sports on Tuesday, high schools on Wednesday, college sports on Thursday, and Friday, Joel's going to join me, and we're going to talk about the pros. And Will be on with me throughout the week. He's going to join me at the very beginning on Monday. He's going to come back on Friday, and we're just going to try to do the best we can with giving as much information about what's happening in sports in Kansas City as possible. So encourage everyone to join us. It's called Ready to Play Week, and you can find it at thesharewaysfoundation.org.
So there's the sharewavesfoundation.org website. We also really want to get in. I mean, everybody should know this already.
Yeah.
willtosucceed.org, because Will and his foundation have been at that for many, many years, certainly well before I got here to Kansas City. And I know that is something that'll continue as you keep being that voice here in our community and beyond. I hated seeing that they had to cancel the Hall of Fame game in Canton the other day, but hopefully we're good for a season. Most importantly, let's keep everybody healthy. Let's continue to make progress in our community, in our country. These conversations right now, they're available to be had. And, for those like me that didn't speak up as much in the past, gonna take advantage of this opportunity right now.
Me too, Joel.
Continue to do what we can. And well said, Bill, on your thoughts there. Will, it's always good to catch up with you. And,
thanks, guys, for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, continue to stay safe to you, your families, and look forward to seeing you both next week, and certainly hearing everything that is going on with the Ready to Play and Sharewaves Foundation. So Bill Brandmeyer, Hall of Famer Will Shields, thanks, guys. Have a great weekend, and appreciate you spending time with me here on a Friday.
Thank you,
gentlemen.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks so much. Will Shields and Bill Brandmeyer, great to catch up with them. A little bit of a quicker show today as I'm going boom, 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 boom. But really appreciate everyone watching. I have a couple pieces of news for next week. One, the podcast is moving from noon to 9 every day, so I can be ready for possible day games when baseball comes back. However, I'm having 3 episodes next Tuesday. There'll be information on social media. It's going to be a triple header Tuesday. Guests at 9, noon, and 2. I'll have all the info out. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And as always, to my sponsors, JJ's Wine and Spirits, southwest corner of College and Antioch, Casey Cattle Company. Check them out online. Get that 4th of July order in. Wagyu beef, veteran-owned and operated, delivering to all 50 states. And to my partners at Enterprise Bank and Trust, #no stopping you. Have a great and safe weekend, everyone. I'm Joel Goldberg. Hope to see you back here Monday morning at 9.